Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm going to be ranking every trainer's Pokemon or trainer with trainer's Pokemon in the TCG. And the way this is, if you don't know what the trainer's Pokemon are, they're a set of Pokemon, and cards as well. I'm going to count like Arvin Sandwich with the Arvin's cards, though not the supporter Arvin itself. And they interact with each other generally and have some themes, and they're just a set of cards. The Pokemon have this trainer symbol on them. I believe the trainers themselves, though, don't, but they are related. And I'm just reading them on how good I think they are. Most of them are not out. We have 4 out so far and 7 coming later. There are some cards that aren't released yet that are like kind of weird parts of them not in the regular sets, but that's still included, I guess. It doesn't really matter. But anyways, let's start with the worst of the trainers Pokemon, which in my opinion, and I think pretty much everyone's opinion, is the Arvin's Pokemon. These are pretty bad. I'm not really going to go into them much at all. I'm not going to go super in detail on the specifics of really any of them, but the Arvins are pretty bad. There isn't really a strong attacker. There's some healing stuff with the Arvin Sandwich item, which is like I guess the main thing. There's very few Pokemon as well. It's just pretty bad all around, which is unfortunate. One of them just being completely, really left out to dry. I think pretty much everyone when they saw the Arvin's Pokemon, they're like, "This is it," and that, yeah. Next, we have the Misty's Pokemon. Again, this is looking at Limitless, and these cards, these like Misty trainers, aren't what we're talking about. The Misty's Pokemon centers around the Misty's Gyarados, which you discard the top 7 cards of your deck, and it does 70 for each Misty's Pokemon discarded in this way. It's an okay attacker. I actually talked about this recently on the podcast with Uncommon Fossil. He said that he thought it was a top 10 card in the set, but also more of like a silly card. I don't think it's that. I think these are pretty weak, and that's really all there is going for it. There are some cards that have some amount of synergy with those cards, and that's it. Yeah, there really isn't that much to say about these cards. Mrs. Gyarados is a very mediocre attacker and kind of gimmicky, kind of fun. Not gonna lie, it does seem fun to play, and isn't like the worst deck I've ever seen either, but it's certainly not the best. Next, we have the Marnie's cards. There are no trainers for this. Again, there are some regular Marnie trainers, but those don't count. A bunch of these Pokemon are pretty bad. There's the Grimmsnarl and the Morpeko. And the idea, I guess, is you accelerate a bunch of energy from the Grimmsnarl or to the Marnie's Morpeko using the Grimmsnarl, Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX, and you can get a bunch of energy on, but it's pretty weak. The Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX itself is an okay attacker. It has some similarities to Charizard EX, which sounds really good, but it doesn't have quite the damage, which is not great, right? You want as much damage as you can get. And it's less versatile as well, so there's not really much reason to play it, unfortunately. I think they're kind of fun. Again, there aren't really enough of these. The Scrafty, yeah, I think this was Scrafty, in the Liepard line, are pretty like meaningless as well, unfortunately, which you just hate to see. So yeah, the Marnies, they're also in like they're in like a separate deck in Japan. They will be in Destined Rivals, coming, I believe, May 30th. But anyways, that's some point in like a month and a half or so, maybe 2. And so we will see these cards, and these are in the main set, but there's a few less of them, and I'm just not very inspired by them. Next, we have the Iona's Pokemon, the first set that are out in Standard. I'm sure people are, well, I'm not actually sure if people are familiar with them, but I'm sure people have at least heard of them and probably forgotten about them. You like accelerate energy and you can do some stuff. They're kind of fun. They're not completely unplayable, but they're also not super strong here. Definitely, I'd say this is the cutoff. After this, the cards are good, but before this, the cards are not good. They're just kind of bad. Or including this one, there was some interesting aspects to this. And Iona's Kilowatt is a cool card. Next, you have the end stuff. The big issue with this one, in terms of why it's visually different here, is because if I search ends into the Limitless database, it shows a lot of things, right? So that's kind of unfortunate. But the end stack, there's Endstar Mantan, there's Ensoric EX, and there's some other stuff going on there. The end stack is okay. It's not really a great deck. It's okay. If I could say, if you say it's a good deck, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably fair. But it's certainly not the strongest deck in the game, and not super versatile. It's moderately versatile, but also relatively weak, which is unfortunate. And so overall, Ensoric EX is just not really impressive, but it's not a bad card. And Zoroark EX is a decent draw engine, though again not great. It's just two prize and can get stuck. You do have the stadium to get out. You can accelerate, yeah, with Ends PP up as energy acceleration to any of your Ends Pokemon, and you have some decent, some like okay synergies. Again, not like terrible, but just lacking quite enough like sauce to make it, really good. Then we have Lilies. This is probably the hardest one to rank in my opinion. Lilia's Clefairy EX is really good. It's not broken, but it's arguably the best card from the Journey to the Other set, that's obviously good for it. And then on top of that, it's good at countering Dragapult, but that means it's really a counter card. There is also the Lily's Pearl card, which is like decent. I think it's a little underrated, but it's not amazing. It's just solid with Lily's Clefairy EX, which can be an attacker, like a support Pokemon, and can do a lot of different things and be like provide fill different roles in different decks. So it's a good card. Apparently, people are playing it Miraidon. I really don't know what this deck is, but yeah, it's definitely a really solid Pokemon, but it's the only Lilia's card, really. I mean, there's the tool to support it, and the rest of the Pokemon are bad. They're like not really playable at all. Lilia's Rabombi has, I don't know, doesn't really have any use cases, and Lilia's Comfey is just not good, unfortunately, at all. I might even make a video talking about it. Like, it has these anti-synergies. But anyways, Lilia's Clefairy EX is definitely pretty good. There are some cards better than this in the trainers Pokemon, I think, but it's certainly near the top. It's probably top 5 or 10 of all trainers Pokemon. But again, it's not broken. It's just good, so I have it right in the middle here. Then we have the Ethan's Pokemon next. And the Ethan's Pokemon are interesting. I'm not a big fan of the Ethan's Adventure Supporter, which gets fire energies, and the Ethan's Typhlosion, and the Ethan's My Cargo, but I am a fan of the Ethan's Ho-Oh EX, which can accelerate to itself. I think it's really cool in Armor's box. I don't think it's an amazing card, but I think it's pretty decent. Overall, the Ethan stuff has been moderately successful in Japan. Nothing crazy, but I do think it's a bit better than the ones before it. So, Ethan seems decent, not, again, not amazing, but pretty solid, pretty middle of the road, and definitely something that I think people will enjoy playing some. And there are some solid, synergies with the different pieces going on, but you don't have to do that. So just a lot of options. And there isn't really a terrible card in this set either. I mean, the Ethan Sudowoodo is a coin flip card, so kind of sketchy there, but you could play it if you really wanted. I actually don't know if people have. Yeah, they have played it in Japan in this deck, apparently. And then in the Cynthia's deck, and then we also see the Ethan's Pichu. Again, not great, but it's a baby Pokemon with some utility. And the Ethan's Pinsir is like fine, and you got the fire stuff. So overall, a really solid package of cards that is just nice. I don't have anything crazy to say about it though. Not going to be like breaking the meta open or anything like that. Then we have the last of the cards that are out right now, which are the Hops Pokemon. Overall, Hops are they're cards that are like really strong synergistically, but they don't have like power really. I mean, you kind of have power with Hops Oshun EX, but that's a lot of setup, and there isn't really the synergy there. But there's the option to be doing really solid like poke, snipe, spread damage. When I say solid, I mean you're doing 120 for free, potentially, and that's obviously quite good. Plus 30 snipe. Overall, the Hops Pokemon are pretty good. I mean, Hops I think is probably the most talked about trainers Pokemon. I'm not actually sure, but I think it is. And so you have Insta Strike, you have the Snorlax, the Stadium isn't here. Postwick. Laventia is like okay. I forgot that with Ionos, but it's not as a big part of it. Anyways, you have the Postwick, though. That's a core part of the Hops deck, plus Hops Snorlax, plus Hops Choice Band. And they also have Hops Current, which is pretty decent. Hops Bag also fine. Hops Double doesn't really have synergy with the Hop stuff outside of Hops Bag. I mean, it kind of technically does, but not really. So that's decent as well. I think Hops Double. I haven't really messed with it yet, but I'm really excited to do that with Hop stuff, actually. But anyways, the Hops package is pretty good. Again, it's been talked about before because it's out, right? So it's decent. Not the strongest deck in the game, but if you said this was like the fifth best deck in the game, I don't think I'd agree, but that's not a crazy take. Number 3 here, we have Stevens. I kind of want to put this lower, and I was like, well, I think Stevens Metagross is really good. There's a stadium as well. I think it's Granite Cave or something. But anyways, it's just really tanky. It has 340 HP, which is tied for the most of any cards that are out yet, and when it comes out, it will be the highest. There are cards that have more HP that will be released after it, but anyways, it's a lot of HP. And then it takes 60 less with the Stevens Carabank plus the Stadium Granite Cave. So overall, Stevens Metagross is super tanky, and it's probably going to be the most tanky Pokemon in the game. One of the most tanky Pokemon ever when it comes out. And it also has good energy acceleration. Again, kind of like Charizard DX, just like the Marne's Grimmsnarl EX, except it can accelerate not to anything, but to any Psychic and Metal Pokemon. It accelerates Psychic and Metal Energy, and it's from the deck, and it's every turn. So it's a really solid ability. It's a mediocre attack. That's like the biggest downside, but I think it's fine. And this can be paired with lots of different things. And I think this card is also pretty underrated. Definitely one of my favorite cards from the set. I'm not going to pretend I'm not biased here, that I just don't really like this card. I'm not going to pretend that I don't. I really do, obviously. The other stuff is pretty mediocre. I think the Carabank and the support for the Metagross is just good, but the other cards are pretty weak in my opinion. But overall, just a really solid, really strong attacker. Definitely, I think, in my opinion, a noticeable step above any of the other trainers Pokemon outside of maybe Liz Clefairy EX that we've talked about so far. The second to last set of cards we have here is the Cynthia's Pokemon. Pretty much what you want to do is get Cynthia's Garchomp and Cynthia's Roserade to do a bunch of damage and get all these Pokemon in play, which isn't that hard using Cynthia's Gabite. Then you have Cynthia's Power Weight to have 70 extra HP, which again puts you up to that 400 HP mark. This is actually 400 HP, not damage reduction, which is realistically a little bit worse, but still strong, right? You're doing big damage, and there is also an item card. Some people might say like, oh, this isn't really fair, but Premium Power Pro is coming out after this with like the 360 HP plus Mega Pokemon, and with the Mega Lucario EX, which is mediocre in my opinion. But Cynthia's Garchomp EX is pretty solid, and it allows you to do 30 more for each Premium Power Pro. Your fighting Pokemon each do 30 more, and it stacks, so that's really good. You can just be like one-shotting stuff, and it's just really strong. Overall, I think the Cynthia stuff is just a good set of Pokemon, and it's just good. It really checks all the boxes. It's pretty cheap, pretty efficient, kind of has a bit of an engine there, and is really strong. It has a lot of HP, and fast free retreat as well. I mean, it's got everything. Then the best set of Pokemon. This, in my opinion, isn't really debatable, and it's also like not really a fair comparison, but it's the Team Rocket stuff. These cards are there's just a lot more of them, and they're really good. There were some insane disruptive Pokemon, like some of the best I've ever seen, or maybe not ever seen, but like best in the game. I think the Team Rocket's Arbok, which stops ability Pokemon from being played, is pretty insane. I think the Team Rocket's Watchtower, which stops colorless Pokemon's abilities, is also really good. It does depend exactly where the meta is, but could be pretty honestly broken. The set of trainers is really good. It's definitely the deepest of any of them, I think. Yeah, more than Hops, and certainly way more than the rest. I don't think there's anything close to these Rockets Pokemon trainers. You got support, you got like lots of weird things, you got the energy, which is really good. This is more so like Ancient or Future or Rap Strike or Single Strike than the other trainers Pokemon. And then you have some decent attackers. The Team Rocket's Mimikyu is good. I think it'll be played in some different things. And then there's the Team Rocket's Crobat line, which is super versatile with damage counters, which I really like. And then the Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX is okay. Figured I'd mention it. It's kind of the Pokemon that's being pushed the most, but it's not insane. But it's not bad either. Well, I don't know. It's really interesting. I've talked about it a bunch before, and it has a downside of its ability stops from attacking sometimes, but it has 280 HP on a basic, which is, I mean, that's absurd. It's not the most we've ever seen, but it's the most we've ever seen on a 2-prizer, I believe, tied for that. And it's a decent attacker. It's not the best, but generally Pokemon with this insane HP have bad attacks. It's not bad. It's decent. And then though it does have a bad ability, and then there's a bunch of like basic single prizes which are kind of cool, and just a wide variety of really cool cards. But tell me down below how you'd rank the trainers Pokemon. But make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, join the channel as well. That helps me out. But I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.